the Rebbe wrote. Let's bring it up. Mamish, one page. It's a letter the Rebbe penned, as we're going to see, Erev Shabbos Kodesh, like we're holding now. It's 2 o'clock in Yerushalayim time. The Rebbe wrote this letter, Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Parshas Bahar, Achri Chatzois, means after midday on Friday. And it's a letter that the Rebbe penned to Eretz Yisrael in the year Tov Shin Yud, 1950, 3-4 months after the passing of the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Frierdiker Lubavitch Rebbe, on Yud Shvat Tov Shin Yud. So the Rebbe writes Michtav, Baruch Hashem, B'yom Zeh, on this same day, Eshtakad, meaning a year ago, meaning Erev Shabbos, Parshas Bahar, Tov Shin Tes, 1949. I beloshen, better to put, so the Rebbe writes, a year ago this day, or to put it better in the words of my father-in-law, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, that he wrote that the day that he's writing the letter, means the Rebbe is writing about a letter that the previous Rebbe wrote in 1949. That the Rebbe Frierdiker wrote, B'yom Hashishi, that it's a Friday, Erev Shabbos Kodesh, before Shabbos, that means the day of leading into Shabbos, Friday. Achri Chatzois, after midday. The Seder for the Parsha, Ki Savoyu HaAretz v'gomer, which is the Parsha, how this week's Parsha starts, Parshas Bahar, when you will enter the land. And the Frierdiker Rebbe continues in the letter, the Rebbe is quoting the Frierdiker Rebbe, V'shofsa HaAretz Shabbos L'Hashem, the land will rest a Shabbos, a sabbatical for Hagad. Meaning this is the laws of the sabbatical, of the Shriyas. My father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, wrote, La'anash, Anash is an abbreviation for Anshei Shlomenu, means members of the Chabad community. Betalmidei HaTamimim, and the students, the Tamimim of the Chabad yeshivas, Hamisyashvim be'eretz HaKodesh, that are settled, means they live in Eretz Yisrael. Eretz HaKodesh is referring to Eretz Yisrael. Achrei Haidiyai, the Frierdiker Rebbe writes in the letter, that after the Rebbe writes that the Frierdiker Rebbe writes, that after he let them know, means it's a letter written to the communities in Eretz Yisrael, to the Anash, Anshe Shlomenu, and the yeshiva students. Haidiyai Isam, the Frierdiker Rebbe lets them know, Asher Tzivisi Lanholis Amerikas Linyan Chinuch, that the Frierdiker Rebbe has instructed the management, which the Rebbe was the head and always was the head of Merkez Linyan Chinuch, Malach, which is the central organization for Jewish education, which is the same organization that sends the shluchim all over the world. The Rebbe in 1949 instructed Hanhola of Merkez Linyan Chinuch, Lishloach Lechem Sefer Torah. The Frierdiker Rebbe sent the Torah to Eretz Yisrael. Asher Kabbalah Sefer Torah Yilechem. Why is the Frierdiker Rebbe sending a Torah? Imagine this: the Frierdiker Rebbe in 1949 wrote a letter on Shabbos Parshas Ki Savoyu HaAretz, i.e. Bahar, Achrei Chatzois, after midday, and he's saying that he instructed. The Rebbe is saying that the Frierdiker Rebbe is saying he instructed the Anhola, the organizers, and the management of Merkez Linyan Chinuch to send the Sefer Torah to the Anash in Eretz Yisrael. Why? Frierdiker Rebbe writes, and the Rebbe quotes what the Frierdiker Rebbe said, La'ois zikorin, that this should be as an ois, as a sign, zikorin, as a memory, tamid, constantly, b'moicham, in the minds, u'bilvavchem, and the hearts of the Anash in Eretz Yisrael. That's why he's sending the Torah. The Torah is to be an ois, a sign, an engraved memory constantly. Where did you engrave it? In your minds and hearts. The Sader is kol chayechem, in order. It's not just an idea that you bring into your heart and your minds, but in order to organize your lives haprotim v'aklolim, whether it's your own individual lives or as a community, al-pi Torah, that should be all done according to Torah. And this wasn't just a Sefer Torah and a letter with the Sefer Torah that was sent to be sent to Eretz Yisrael just for Nash. It was for the whole Klal Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael. As we were guided by our forefathers, Rabbi Seinu, our teachers, our Rebbes, HaKadoshim, the Holy Ones, blessed be thee, meaning Baal Shem Tov, Magid, Alt Rebbe, the Rebbe Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe Marash, the Rebbe Shab, and the Frierdiker Rebbe is writing this letter, and the Rebbe is reminding a year later, and in between there was the passing of the Frierdiker Rebbe, Yud Shvat, the Rebbe accepting leadership, that the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote this letter. And what should it be? What is the message from the Torah that you're going to carve into your memories of your heart and your minds? To educate your sons and your daughters, may they live long, b'darka, in the ways of Torah. With no compromise. We don't compromise on Torah. And to take shade in the spirit, Ruach Yisrael Savo, of our father Yaakov Avinu. The old Yisrael Savo is a reference to Yaakov Avinu. Ashar Eichechem Yisrael. And this, that the Rebbe sent the Torah to Anash and Eretz Yisrael, should be like a shade and effect to your brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael, and Yichyu, that they may live long. Hakroivim, those who are close to you both spiritually, physically, materially, and in space. And those who are distant from you. Leisata, the Rebbe's Frierdiker writes that they're only distant now. Hopefully, the effect that you're going to have by bringing this message of the Torah. This is mamish like a story out of Tanakh when Rishayahu Hanavi found the Sefer Torah. V'hashpiyachem aleihem, that you should affect them, be mashpi on them. L'enchosem haderech, to pave the way, ha'oyle beis kel, the way that goes to the house of God. The Beis Hamikdash. Ki derech limud haTorah b'Yerushalayim. What is the way how do we pave the way to Beis Kel? Is by learning Torah with proper Yerushalayim, God-fearing. B'kiyum ha-mitzvahs b'hidur, and to keep the mitzvahs diligently with all its details. Mitoch kiruv amiti, and to make sure, the Rebbe writes in this letter, there has to be a true closeness. Not a make-believe. Hanoives ma'avas Yisrael, where you get this ability to have a true closeness is if you properly have avas Yisrael, love for your fellow Jew, umides chasidis ashabi Torah divrei Elokim Chaim, and with the attributes of chasidus, as it's been taught to us by the divrei Elokim Chaim, the word of the living God. And the Frierdiker Rebbe continues to write. Again, the Rebbe is quoting a year later, the letter the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote, telling the Anash in Eretz Yisrael that he's instructed Anholas Merkas Linyan Yechinuch to send in Eretz Yisrael. And why is he sending a Torah to Eretz Yisrael? First, that the message of the Torah should carve into the hearts and the minds of the Hasidim, and then it should spill over through the Hashpah, those close and far, who are close or far now, but to be close soon, the paving the way through Avos Yisrael and true closeness in the ways that they were taught to us in Derech Chassidus and Derech Torah. V'hoyekol echad v'achas mikem. The Rebbe says this should be for everyone. Echad v'achas means male and female. Ner lahoyer, through the Torah and through this energy that's coming with the Torah from the Frierdiker Rebbe, you should become a ner, a light, to give off light, to emanate light. As choshech hagolus, the darkness of the exile, asher atem v'onu nimtzoyim by, that we are in now. V'or havayim, what light? The light of godliness. Adei yikum Hashem es Yehudai, until God is going to fulfill His promise to the Jewish people. Aidei nevi'av hakdoshim, through the holy prophets. Lahashmi'enu kol mevaser, that we're going to hear the sound of the mevaser, of the tithing. Mashmiya Yeshua, we're going to hear the salvation, meaning Kol Mevaser is the sound of Elijah the prophet Eliyahu Navi announcing the Geula. Ki nicham Hashem amoy v'hoylech lefenenu, that Hashem has had pity to take His people out of the Golus, and He's going to go in front of us, l'kabitz lo yisenu, to gather all the lost Yidden from throughout the exiles. to take us to the true everlasting redemption. The Rebbe in 1950 is writing a letter to Anash in Eretz Yisrael, reminding them of the letter with the Torah that they got from the Frierdiker Rebbe. Now the Rebbe continues. Our Rebbe continues. We know that every single day, Torah is not something that happened 5,000, 3,300 years ago. It's happening nice in a Torah. Matan Torah is something that's happened daily. Every day we bless Hashem who's giving presently the Torah, not that he gave in the past. The Torah is given to us on a daily basis, i.e., the message. And this idea that the Frierdiker Rebbe sent the Torah to Anash is something that didn't happen a year ago. It's happening now. It's happening in 1915. It's happening in 2026, 5,786. Ubiyesser says, and when is the seed? When is the high moment of that, of the present of receiving the Torah constantly? Is in the holiday of Shavuos, which we're getting ready for. Zman Matan Torah saying the Kol Sashana. That's the time that throughout the year, that on a daily basis, we draw energy from the one time of the year, like every holiday. Pesach gives energy for freedom every holiday. Shavuos draws energy for Matan Torah every day from Shavuos. Sukkot, we draw the energy of Simcha. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur of Tshuva and Kapara. So we know that the holidays are, even though they're one day a year, but they give energy for every day of the year. To draw energy from the holidays, so too Shavuos. The day of Shavuos is the day of Matan Torah, but therefore we're able to say Nois in the Torah daily. And therefore around this holiday, and days before the holiday, and days after the holiday. The Rebbe finishes off this letter. Aleinu lihisboinei. It's a comment upon us to contemplate, b'yoser, very deeply, b'divrei harav amuboim leil, these words that the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote us in 1949 about sending a Torah, and the meaning of sending the Torah is to carve it and engrave it into our sons and our daughters, and throughout Klal Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael, and paving the way through Ahavas Yisrael to bring Torah without any compromise to our brothers and sisters throughout Eretz Yisrael. Will be hisboinenus hameviya, and the Rebbe says it's not just a contemplation of an idea. We have to contemplate it in a way that's going to bring midday to action, toiv into good action, b'meshach kol hashana, not just in the time that we read the letter and we remember the message of the Frierdiker Rebbe, but by reading it throughout, by living that message throughout the year. B'chol ha'inyonim ha'menuyim b'sfurim b'mechtavai, with regard to all the points that have been numbered and mentioned in this letter. The Rebbe finishes off the letter, again, 1950. Liyois nishma tamid baznein. We should hear constantly in our ears, moichenu, in our minds, bilibenu, and in our hearts. Kol kriyasei, the calling and the cry of Koi Kedushas Morichami Admar Kam of the Frierdiker Rebbe, Hayoitzi Mikerev Nafshe Pnima, that the Frierdiker Rebbe is calling out from the depth of his soul. Alma Mechakim, what are we waiting for? In implementing the message, in implementing the teachings of Torah, non-compromise of Torah. By waiting, we're holding back the redemption. For Erev Shabbos la'achar chatzos. It's already Friday afternoon, after midday, of the day of Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Bahar, but mainly in the 6,000 years of creation. We know we're ready in the 5,786 year, is already Friday afternoon deep after midday. We should already be in our big day Shabbos. Shabbos should already be here. Moshiach should already be here. The Rebbe signed Menachem Schneerson, the Rebbe's holy name. And the Rebbe writes in the bottom of the letter that when did he write this letter? Yom HaShishi, on Friday, Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Achar Chatzos, after midday, the Seder Kisevoyo HaAretz, the Shavsa Aretz Shabbos Hashem, in the year Tavshin Yud in Brooklyn, New York, means that when it comes to Shabbos, like this Shabbos now, Shabbos Bahar, and it's now Friday afternoon after Chatzos, getting ready for Shabbos, we have to think about this letter and the message that the Rebbe is sending and sent us, and constantly sending us. What are we doing? How are we performing, getting and bringing the world ready for Moshiach And Chas v'shalom not to be part of any kind of obstacle that would be holding back the Geula Mitzvah. Especially wishing everyone a good Shabbos and a meaningful Shabbos. Take care.